Heather Gay has risen to national fame on the hit Bravo series, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She is now out with a new book called Bad Mormon and coming here to Las Vegas for a book signing. Heather, great to see you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We have so many questions, Heather, so get ready.
Okay.
We love having you on. And we know that you love Las Vegas too, so we'll get to that in a little bit.
The podcast is Vegas Revealed. We reveal a lot of what goes on here in Las Vegas, but you're revealing a lot of what goes on in the Mormon church, in society surrounding everything, in your new book, Bad Mormon. I know that you had reservations about doing it, worried about the consequences of family, friends, even the church. Do you still have reservations or worries now that the book is in people's hands?
Yes, like even more so now because, the book has a lot of juicy details. If that's the kind of things that I always vowed that I would, hold sacred, but I no longer hold them sacred and I revealed those secrets. So I think the fallout is just beginning. I'm curious how it's going to affect my daily life and my community because this is the world I live in.
And I know, obviously, when it comes to that, I mean, when you were writing it, did you feel, though, like every little page that you finished, you felt freer and freer,
Yeah, it had been a process because really going on the show was the first thing that forced me to kind of live authentically. And then when I wrote it down, but I still was ashamed of it. I was still ashamed of my story, ashamed of my experience, still kind of feeling not valid. But once I wrote it down and reread it, and the more I kind of poured it out onto paper, it helped me respect my story and respect my experience as its own voice. And it gave me a lot of grace for the girl I was and why I became the way I am, and made me really want to not waste another minute of my life.
So people outside of the Mormon church may not realize what a huge deal the things inside of your book are to have written and published. Can you shed some light on that, and even kind of the scare tactics and intimidation that kind of come from society as well?
Yeah, well, the things that we hold most sacred in our faith are the rituals that we do in the temples, and to the rest of the world they just look like beautiful religious cathedrals, but they're really rooms where we perform secret rituals that we've done handed down from generation to generation and vow to never speak of outside of a specific room inside of the temple. And with every oath or ritual there is a penalty, and so you're reminded of that penalty of sharing these secrets, and they're not good. It's not like getting yellow carded at a soccer game. The penalties are swift and severe, and the rituals have softened over the years to be a little bit more palatable. But, my parents and ancestors, knew the penalty of sharing secrets like this would not only be expulsion from the church and from the presence of God, but to be disemboweled and your throat cut ear to ear, which is a deterrent to telling said secrets, right?
A little bit.
And those
My God.
secrets that I'm talking about. And that was the hardest part of the book for me to write, because I never thought I would give voice to these things, because that fear was deep, deep, deep inside of me. Even walking away from the faith didn't take away that, once you fear the devil, you always fear the devil, you know?
Right. Well, and I think sometimes when people write a book, something similar to like this, where they're speaking out, what is people wonder, what is your hope for it? Is your hope that people will learn more, or is it your hope that people will follow what you did? I mean, what is the goal of the book, or is it just something that you just wanted to do and it was just, like I mentioned before, just something freeing and it's for you?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is I never would have had the opportunity to write the book if I hadn't gotten on the show. And so it felt like this was the chance for me to honor the writer in me, my experience, my story. And I really wrote it certainly not just for myself, but to make sure that for my daughters, if we were going to change generations of tradition and faith and ox cart pioneers, if I was going to break that and become a bad Mormon, I wanted my children and my legacy to be clear and told from my perspective without sensationalism and without kind of the gaze of a television show or anything other than how I felt. I grew up Mormon. My life imploded and I rebuilt it. And that is something that I think a lot of people, Mormon or not, will feel seen and will resonate with. I mean, this book is as much for women who had their hearts broken by divorce as it is for bad Mormons. It's for anyone who wanted to belong to something, but never really felt accepted.
Do you think that the book is going to become kind of like an underground read for Mormons? Because I mean, it's kind of blasphemous for members of the church to actually, pick up this book. They might be crouched in the corner of a library to, read chapters a few days at a time. But do you think it's going to become something like that? And also a relatable thing where people are like, my God, I have questions too, but I'm just too nervous to ask them.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of good Mormons will love this book. And I think a lot of good Mormons will listen to it on Audible, secretly and privately in their libraries on their phones. I even joked with my publisher about giving out like book covers, like those plain brown book covers on, so that people could read it, in secrecy. But yeah, I think that there will be a huge underground audience of people that are good Mormons or know a good Mormon, but don't want to be blasphemous or risk having their parents come over and see this book on the bookshelf. This is the equivalent. One of the reviewers called it the handbook for apostates. So it's not the kind of signal you want to bring out at Sunday dinner. But the truth is, good Mormons will love the book. Anyone that's even been curious will love it because it's a personal perspective of me walking through this faith, the good, the bad, and the totally weird.
Yeah.
And it's not only a good read, I hope it resonates with them and they feel like represented.
Well, I'm already starting, I flip through, I go down the rabbit hole of TikTok sometimes, and I see a lot of TikToks, and trends of Mormons showing kind of some of the rules that they break and dispelling some of the myths or telling why they do this. I mean, so it's definitely something that's being talked about more.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the social activism has kind of pushed the conversation forward. It's a younger generation now. They're not willing to really just accept the status quo. They're forcing transparency on their churches. And especially if you're giving 10% of your income, you can't align yourself with doctrine or policies that are bigoted and racist and, homophobic. It's just, it doesn't work. And so it's forcing a huge purge in the Mormon church. There's an exodus going on right now. And I feel like bad Mormon and the people that are resonating with it are kind of that counterculture that's emerging as a result, which is, for me, is fascinating because I always felt totally alone in my doubts, in my sins, in my inability to make it work. And now to know that there's, throngs of us and we're growing in number and you can see that community on TikTok and Instagram. I'm hoping that Bad Mormon is the Bible that brings us all together and we can, really activate change and do some good. Mormons are great at service. Let's get all the bad Mormons together and see how we can change the world.
Well, and you're coming to Las Vegas for a book signing. And I know when people have book signings, a lot of times when it's a fictional book, you love to hear how people like the book and stuff. But this is going to be a very personal moment for you because you're going to see people face to face who have read your book and are going to talk to you. So are you looking forward to this?
Listen, I leave these book signings, I'm sure, with 1,000 new best friends. I give out my number, we cry, we hug, we embrace. It's like a community. We know what it feels like to be seen, especially when we've been rejected by everyone that we loved and that defined us for the most of our life, and it can be lonely and it can be shameful. And so I think that those emotional connections of just finding our own and finding strength in numbers is what I look forward to about meeting people that have read the book and resonated with it.
Yeah, and that book signing is coming up February 10th at the Beverly Theater, the brand new Beverly Theater. So that's going to be fantastic. And do you have a long history with coming to Las Vegas, Heather?
Yes, as bad Mormon, we used to take the voyage from Provo to Vegas. Plus, Howard Hughes and my ex-husband's grandfather, helped run the Frontier Hotel. We have Vegas ties that go deep back to Steve Wynn. And then my uncle was the mayor of North Las Vegas. So I love Vegas. It is a bad Mormon's heaven on earth. And I can't wait to get back there.
Well, and so what are some of the things you like to do when you come to Las Vegas? So this is a podcast called Vegas Revealed. So we need you to reveal some of your favorites.
Okay, well, you will find me at the Pai Gow table. I will play all night. I call it a slow burn because you never really leave with money, but you can play all night long. And I love blackjack. And I tend to always bet on black 29 on roulette at least once a night. You'll find me in the casinos and at the shows. That's it.
Got it. Perfect. I love the Pai Gow, stretching it out.
And what about the spas? Do you like the spa experience in Las Vegas?
You would think that I'm a spa girl, but I'm much more into gambling and drinking than I am into self-care.
Hey, listen, sister, I'm right there with you. Save me a spot at the table.
Yes, I will. Drinks on me.
Definitely. And we're going to see you at a restaurant opening actually here in Las Vegas at the Forum Shops at Soul. So we're excited you're going to be at that too, kind of embracing Las Vegas while you're here for the book signing.
That's going to be our pregame for the book signing. So I plan on enjoying that. Yeah, I'm excited to come and be there.
Well, we're excited too. Congratulations on the book and for being so extremely honest and vulnerable in writing it. I think it really is going to help a lot of people who have the same feelings as you and who have gone through the similar situations.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you, Heather, for joining us, and we'll see you out and about in Las Vegas.
Yes, Vegas Revealed with Heather Gay. Can't wait.